Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, smoky conditions are improving, but will they be going away anytime soon?
Plus, a Valley News Live investigation, the problems for two separate locations locally sharing the same addresses.
Plus, we've learned new information about the victim of that deadly crash in Clay County. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
It's a little bit different. You can definitely tell breathing's harder, and like with asthma and stuff, it's kind of taking a toll on me, I think, for breathing wise.
If you've been inside all day, this is what it's looked like throughout most of the area. Thick smoke triggering an air quality alert in North Dakota and most of Minnesota.
That smoke is coming from the north. This is the fire in Ontario, Canada, near the Manitoba and Ontario borders. More than 130 forest fires burning as of this morning in Canada.
And as you can see, we've got our Skycam here with a live look at conditions, and on the left, conditions out west in Bismarck, Williston, and Dickinson.
Let's go to Hutch right now, who's been tracking that smoke. He's got the very latest for you. Hutch?
Mike, Stacy, thanks. Good evening, everyone. We have smoke that has spread across the area as our smoky skies have indeed returned. Now let's take a look at our situation that we have visibility wise. We do have reduced visibility in Baudette. It's down under 2 miles. Notice the smoke spreading from central Minnesota back into the Southern Valley where things are the worst. 3/4 of a mile visibility on I-29 at Watertown. Here's a look at that thick smoke forecast for tonight, where you see the reds and purple hue colors. That's the thickest of the smoke, and it's camping Fargo and Point South. We've got a little bit of a breakdown in that smoke density up in the northern part of the valley tonight, and that's showing up on our sky cams as well. But this is a look from the Dakota Magic Casino where things are not good. Let's take a look at your forecast planner for tonight. Temperature wise, I expect 70s as we go through your evening. We're going to have a wind that's basically continuing from a northerly component for most of the night. Clouds building in, a few sprinkles in the forecast as well. I'll detail all of that. We're going to track the smoke and tell you what you can expect coming up here in just a few more moments.
Thanks so much, Hutch. Tonight's performance of Cinderella also canceled because of those smoky conditions.
Now to a story that Valley News Live has been investigating. A block of homes in Horace might be getting new addresses soon, as the city recently discovered there were duplicates in both the city and a rural part of the town. Horace officials say that they were alerted last week that those living on 7th Street East having the same address as people out near Oxbow. And the city is now working with both the United Postal Service and the county to fix it. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley explains why it's a big deal.
What used to be the quiet, sleepy town is now exploding with development and new residents, with the city of Horace saying over 600 lots were purchased last year, and they expect to have that many or more by the end of this year.
I've worked in fast-paced, fast-growth communities, but not at this explosive rate.
And with all of the craziness, Voigt says they weren't expecting duplicate addresses to be one of the problems they'd run into.
This is a first for us.
Amanda Erickson has lived on 7th Street East since November and says while she didn't know what exactly the issue was, she knew something was up.
Anytime we invite guests or order anything, such as our furniture coming or anything from Best Buy, our TV's coming, we always have to say, do not put it in Google Maps, you will go to Oxbow. And then we'll get a call from the delivery people in Oxbow and have to give them directions.
I wanted to test it for myself, so while sitting in Amanda's driveway, I put her address into Google Maps. And that brought me here to this gravel road in Oxbow, which is technically rural Horace.
Something's got to happen because, yeah, it's a mess.
The city says it's not clear how this happened and don't know how long the solution could take. Voigt says it could be as easy as proposing a street name change with the county, which those living on the block would get a say in, or it could mean changing the entire corridor.
It'll be a long-term process.
Voigt says he's just glad this was caught now and that so far this is the only street impacted. And Erickson says she's just glad people will finally be able to find her house soon.
Because it will make life so much easier.
In Horace, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Voigt says if you don't want to wait, you can ask the city for your individual address to be changed. He says the proposal would then be presented to the county and would likely be changed immediately.
Last week, we told you about a Fargo man who had his gun stolen. Now, Becker County investigators say that gun was found during a search warrant call. This is video we showed you last week of the theft. The gun owner tonight saying he's just happy that gun is off the streets. There's no word on whether the thief was arrested.
Police in Devils Lake are looking for a man after a woman was stabbed at a bar. It happened just before 1 yesterday morning at Nellie's Bar. The woman says she then went into an apartment. The man also tried to get inside but couldn't. The police said bystanders found her. There's an arrest warrant out for 34-year-old Dana Bohannon, but they say he isn't a threat to the public. The victim was flown to All True Hospital in Grand Forks for surgery.
2 men are charged in connection to an overdose death in Polk County. Andre Metcalf and Georgie Piatkoff each face a count of third-degree murder. On Monday, a trooper saw a vehicle stopped on the shoulder with its passenger door wide open. That trooper heard kids crying inside the vehicle. As he got closer, he saw 32-year-old Katie Flick dead on the ground. Piatkoff has said those kids were his and Flick's. If convicted of the murder charges, both men face up to 25 years in prison.
Scammers have been calling people in Grand Forks claiming to be law enforcement officers. What they do is they try to convince you that you're in some sort of legal trouble or that you have an arrest warrant out for you. Then they're going to try to collect payment over the phone to resolve the situation. You're going to be asked to pay by using credit or debit cards, gift cards, or money transfer services. Now, if you're unsure if the call is real, hang up, call the Grand Forks Police Department or the Sheriff's Office. Another pest, mosquitoes in Grand Forks now have been identified with having West Nile virus. Citizens in Grand Forks and East Grand Forks are being urged to take extra precautions to avoid being bitten, including using insect repellent with DEET, limiting outdoor activities between dusk and dawn when mosquitoes are most active, wearing long pants and long sleeves when you can, and eliminating all standing water around your house, like in flower pots or bird baths.
You can find signs of the drought in North Dakota and Minnesota. Today, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was in Douglas County, where they're under water restrictions like much of the state. Walz says the drought has intensified since last week and it's putting stress on farmers.
This issue of the drought that we're experiencing and the stresses that are being put on our producers, we want to make sure we're out here, first of all, hearing what they're asking, what they're experiencing, and then making sure some of the solutions that are coming from folks that know this business are coming up both to a state level and then at the federal level.
The governor now says there's a big swath of the state under extreme drought conditions.
Nearly $7,000 has been raised to continue the work of a midwife killed Tuesday night when State Patrol says her car hit a semi. 41-year-old Rebecca Knapp was a midwife, bringing in more than 1,000 babies into the world during her career, many times driving hours to do so. She was featured on Lifetime's Born in the Wild in 2014 when a local woman delivered her baby outdoors in Manville. Knapp was also a member of the Tri-County Carlstead Ambulance Squad. They posted in part, "Your loss will be felt throughout the many communities that you served."
Later on Valley News Live at 6, how about an ice cream treat after supper tonight? How that could benefit children in need.
Smoky conditions up and down the valley. We will contend with this for the next several days. We're going to spell it all out, but first a look from one of the source points of the fires in Canada. We'll have details in your hour-by-hour forecast coming up. Join us. Weather is next.